hello. Welcome to the Underground Gospel Show. My name is Knight, and this is a safe place. There's no trolling allowed. If you do use the chat feature, if you leave me a comment, please make it positive, make it happy, make it joyous. We tend to try to do that. We try to make things happy around here. And we're going to play some music for you. This is calming music. This is not going to be crazy. And I'm an instrumentalist. That's why my motto is be instrumental. And you might have seen that on some of the adverts that we have going out right now. And that is the fact that I believe that we are all called to be instrumental. We can help other people. We can be instrumental in people's lives. And I'm an instrumentalist. I play guitar. I don't sing. I do sing, but I don't sing well, and I won't sing for you. And so that's a blessing. And we're actually going to be talking about some blessings today. We're going to talk about the secret why people hate Christians. It's the thing that we have that nobody else has. And it's something that everybody wants, and because we have it and we have it in abundance, there's a lot of people who don't like us because of it. And that's going to be brought to you by Luke 3:13. So did I say that right? No, I didn't. I said Luke 3:13. I'm talking about James 3:13. And I want to say something about the book of James. If you haven't been in the Bible for a while, if you've never been in the book, if you've never been in the Bible, if you're new to Christianity, please read John. You'll find that there are 4 epistles: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And then there in the back of the New Testament, there's a couple other books of John 1. And I'm talking about the very first book of John. And the reason why is that's kind of like the Reader's Digest of the Bible. It's the entire Bible condensed into one book. And if you read the book of John, you will have the complete set of the Bible. And the most important chapter and verse in that, to me, has always been John 3:17. I had a guy ask me one time why the Christians meet in the bathroom at 3:16, and I'm like, what do you mean? And he said, well, there's always a guy at the baseball games that he goes to that holds up a sign that says John 3:16, and he goes, I don't know why you meet at 3:16. You should meet at 5 o'clock or meet at 3:15. I'm like, dude, he's not saying to meet at the John at 3:15 or 3:16. It's the book of John. And the book of John 3:16 says, so God so loved the world that he sent his only begotten son, which is great and important and wonderful. But my favorite verse in that book is John 3:17. You've heard me say this time and time again, if you watch the show, if you follow the show. And that is John 3:17. God did not send his son to judge the world. He sent his son to redeem the world. Now, there's a lot of Christians who go around and judge people because they think that they're better. But the thing is, we're all sinners and we all fall short. And Jesus came to be a savior. But people don't realize what that means. It means he came to save us from something. And what he came to save us from was eternal damnation, which is separation from God. And we don't really know what that is right now if you're alive, because God is so much a part of this world right now. It's the reason why you're breathing. Every breath you take is because of God. Oh, that's a song I know I should play, but I'm not going to play that one right now. I'm going to and it's not the Police version; it's the Matt Redman version. But I digress, and I'm jumping down rabbit holes here. Where was I going? Oh yeah, so we're talking about James 3:13, and I'm going to read to you that real quick. And it's the very first part of this chapter, and it says, do you want to be considered wise? Well, build a reputation for wisdom. And this is what you do. You live well, you live wisely, and you live humbly. It's the way you live, not the way you talk, that counts. Now, most of the times when people are down on Christians, it's because of the way that Christians talk. And that's not... and that's why a lot of times people hate us, is because of the fact that they talk about the fact that you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that and you shouldn't do this and you shouldn't do that, when they should be talking, in my opinion, humble opinion, about Jesus and what Jesus did for them. And if they're talking about the fact that Jesus came, and if all they're talking about is Jesus, not trying to be Jesus, but to be like him, to live well and to live and to be humble. Now, humble, let me talk to that because I'm having a big problem myself with humility. The reason being is I have a mentor, and part of the lessons that my mentor I was in a couple of weeks ago was to be humble and to live humbly, because if you live humbly, people will just love and respect you, which is great. I want to be loved and respected. I think we all do, and we all want to be humble. The challenge that I have is I work in the entertainment business, and I really don't have any models of people who live humbly in the entertainment business. Now, I also am building another business on the side and working on the side. And in that organization, also, you have people like, I want to say, Bill Gates and Steve Jobs and Richard Branson. And did I say Bill Gates? None of these guys are humble. They really aren't. And so it's really hard to find models of people that are humble. They did have some. They had like Gandhi, and they had Abraham Lincoln. They had I'm trying to think offhand. I'm seeing the pictures, but I'm not thinking the names. Um, oh my gosh, who's the other guy? Winston Churchill. And you don't think of these people as being dramatically humble because they changed the world. I mean, they basically stood up in a time when things were falling apart, and you know they did some things that um, weren't humble. I mean, they took leadership of a country, and so it's really hard to think of them as being humble. But they didn't boast ever about themselves. They boasted about their country, about their countrymen, about the people that they lived. Just as our motto here is be instrumental. And that is because of the fact that I don't believe that during acts of God, what they consider, the insurance companies called acts of God, I don't think those are the acts of God. I think the acts of God come after the natural disaster. And that is when people become like Jesus. They help people, they reach out, they bring food, they bring bread, they bring life savings, they send money, they send donations, they send clean water, they send blankets, they go down there and they dig people out, and people become the hands and feet of God. And that is, to me, is the acts of God. It's not the natural disaster. What's happened when people get involved after a natural disaster. And I wanted to go through one other thing that a lot of people get mad at, and that is the first part of James 3:13, where he says, "Live well." What does that mean? Well, it typically doesn't mean give away everything. Now, don't give away everything to the poor and become poor. We can give a lot as Christians, and we do give a lot as Christians because we have a lot to give and we're given a lot. There's this thing called gratitude. And I think Christians have a lot more gratitude than the people I know that aren't Christians. The Christians that I know are people who are very thankful, and they give. And that is, in my opinion, I said at the preview that there was a secret. That to me is the secret of Christianity, is giving thanks for the little bit you have. And when God sees that you give thanks for the little bit that you have, he gives you a little more. The in the Jewish tradition, they meet at the Sabbath, and they fill a cup full of wine, and the cup falls over. They fill the cup up, and it overfills and fills the um, oh my gosh, what's it? The saucer with wine, because the cup is filled and it overflows, and it's supposed to represent the fact that God's blessings overflow in the life of a person who follows God. And I think that's the same in Christian, that we see our lives and things overflowing. It's so funny to me every single time anybody's ever mentioned that they're having a really tough financial time. The first thing I do is say, well, what's your tithing like? How are you? Well, I give my time. Well, you probably, you just got laid off and you got more time. In fact, funny story. There was a guy who told me that that Christianity didn't work because he gave, he just believed that, he all he had was audio gear, and he gave a lot of his audio gear for free, and he set it up and he did the audio work for free, and he said, "Look, I give you my time and I give all my equipment, and some people have donated a bunch of equipment, and now I have a garage full of equipment that I have to pay for. I have to rent a storage unit for all this freaking equipment that I have, and I don't have any work. I just sit around all day." I'm like, "So wait a minute, you gave your time and you gave your audio equipment, and now you have an overflowing of audio equipment and you have an overflowing of time. So let me get this straight. What you wanted was money, but you gave something else, and now you have an overflowing of the something else, but what you wanted was money. Did you ever think of giving money? Because if you wanted money, you should have given money, because then you'd have an overflowing of money." I was saying this the other day to a friend of mine, and they said, that's two things I've never seen. I've never seen a person who give run out, and I've never seen a person who doesn't give ever have enough. And I'm just like, man, that is golden nuggets right there, because it's so true. The people that give never seem to run out, and the people that don't never seem to have enough. So I don't know. Well, I was getting back to gratefulness and thankfulness and living well. That's the whole bottom line of what I wanted to say here, is that as Christians, we're called to live well. And the way we live well is we give thanks for what we have, and then we're given more. There's a great YouTube video with Steve Harvey. If you guys know Steve Harvey, now I got to let you know, he drops some bombs. I think they're F bombs. I know he comes from a culture where that is the norm. And so please don't judge him. Remember, we're called not to judge, but to be redeemed. And so, but listen to what he says about giving thanks. It's so important, and it's so good, and it's so timely, because we live in a time right now where I think that we really need to focus on giving thanks. So, as we do that, I was going to play a couple of songs here. Was there anything else I wanted to go through here? Nope. So I'm going to talk about, well, I'm not going to talk. I'm going to play a song. So this song is called More Love, More Power. And I believe it was written, oh my goodness, I did not just forget who it was written by. Well, you can look in the notes underneath, because I know that when I put the notes underneath, I'll put the name of the person who was written it by. So anyway, this is called More Love, More Power. I hope you enjoy it. Yes, more love, more power. If you've stayed with me through that, thank you. And there I am, giving thanks, thanking you for staying and listening to this. Uh the Let's do another one. This is another one. Oh, and I did want to mention this. This is why we give thanks, because we have a Savior, and His name is Jesus Christ, and we put our hope in Jesus. A lot of people are like, "Don't you see what's going on in this world? Don't you see the death? We're in the middle of a pandemic, and there's wars, and there's volcanoes, and there's where did I say volcano in Spain? I mean, who saw that one coming? Anyway, so there's all these things happening all over the world, and it's like, why are you guys thankful? Don't you see the trouble and the despair and the agony? And it's like, yes, we do. In fact, who's the first persons typically to go in after the first responders? And God bless our first responders. But who are the people that come in after the first responders to give aid? They're typically Christians. And they bring water, and they give of their time, they give of themselves, and they give of and I think I was telling the story. I don't know if I get to the end of the audio story, but my friend, he had given audio and he had given time. And so here he is with not a whole lot of work and just tons of gear. But what he actually wanted was money. So he should have given money so that he would have money. And so, but this is what Christians do: is they come in after an event and they give of their time, they give of themselves, and they give because, and here comes the key, we have hope. We have hope in the future. And our hope in the future is because of Jesus Christ. And because we have hope in a future, we give and we help, and we know that there are troubles in this world. We know there's tribulations, but we have hope through the troubles and the tribulations, that the times are going to get better. And we work very hard that the times get better. And I want you to think about this right now. My mentor talks about this all the time. Think about 100 years ago. We didn't have refrigeration. We didn't have automobiles. We didn't have gas pumps. We didn't have electricity. We didn't have cameras. We didn't have phones. We did have trains. We didn't have vaccines. We didn't have cures for polio. We didn't have cures for all these different medications, we didn't have cures for headaches, okay, that you could just run down and get. We didn't have clean water a lot of times. We didn't have the food that we have, the ability to have food. Look at the pictures of people 100 years ago partying and the pictures of 100 of now partying. If you look at flappers and the people in the speakeasies, they weren't eating biscuits and gravy every morning, okay? I mean, let's just face it. The people today, they call it healthy because they call it curvy. There's a lot of names for it. But the challenge is, it's the fact that they have a better food supply, a cleaner food supply, more available food, easier transportation, much easier work. They don't have to work 60, 70, 80, 100 hours a day. They don't have to work 7 days a week. And it's a lot better life that we have right now. But that's because we can look in the past and say, well, those people had hope for this future that we have now. And we have hope for the future that we're building in the future. We have hope to what the future is going to be. And because of that, we don't surround ourselves with what's going in the world. Another example, and this came from my mentor. When you get fish and you get a nice piece of, fish out of the ocean, typically the first thing you do is you put salt on it. Now, this fish has lived in an environment of salt its entire life. It lived in salt water, but it never absorbed any of the salt in its environment. Okay. So we live in an environment of troubles and persecution and yelling and violence and pornography and slavery and wars and plagues and diseases. But as Christians, we don't absorb any of it because we have hope in something else. And then our center is Jesus Christ. And so we hope that you can look at that and say, well, you know what? I want to have that too. I want to have that peace. I want to have that understanding. I want to know who Jesus is. And if you do, contact me through Night Music. There's also some other things on Night Music I wanted to get to. Do I have those here? Yes, I do. Oh my goodness. This is going to be so much fun. Okay. So I brought a couple of t-shirts. Now we have new t-shirt designs coming up. I have a person doing graphics right now. We're onboarding some new talent. in our organization, because we have a wonderful new some new things happening. We have Discord channel coming, and I had a person the other day ask me what the Discord channel actually was. How does that work? Okay, think of it like this. It's a private social media platform. It's going to be like a Facebook and a Twitter and a Instagram and a LinkedIn, and it's all rolled up into one. And it's going to cost you, okay? Because if you don't pay for the product, then you actually are the product. Okay, so this is going to be a safe place. It's going to be through nightmusic.com, and it's going to be the Night Music Discord channel. It will cost roughly, our target is $4.99 a month. You'll be able to buy t-shirts. You'll be able to social media. You'll be able to post pictures, ask songs, ask me questions, share things in the Bible, share things that are going on in your life. And so the idea is that it will be the same thing as a social media page, but it's going to be private for the people in our tribe. Now, if you start hating, and I'm not talking about red and blue hating, I'm talking about hating anybody in the area, we're probably going to kick you out. It's just simple. If you're not a member of the tribe, you're not on the island. It's just that simple. But we do want to post pictures of you being instrumental, and we want to see that you're instrumental. So if you want to get these t-shirts, these are available. This one here actually has our logo on the back, and our logo, this logo is going to change real soon. It's going to be just the dove. I don't know if you guys have ever seen my dove that I wear, but that's on, actually it's right up there in the corner. Oh, I'm pointing at it too. That was so good. It was like a weatherman. Anyway, we also have, this one here. This is fun. This says Jesus in Arabic. I don't know if a lot of people understand that Muslim people believe in Jesus. They believe he was a prophet and not a savior. I'm not going to get into that, but he did prophesize a lot of stuff, and they have, to me, it's a lot. Now I'm talking Muslims. I'm not talking, we did a whole series on Taliban and Hezbollah and people that are not, saying Taliban is Muslim is like saying MS-13 is Catholic. Okay. They're nothing like Muslims. Okay. So do not confuse terrorism with Muslims, please. Do not confuse ES or M13 people being, Catholics. They're not good people. Catholics are good people, but the MS-13 people are not good people. And so we have merchandise, we have garments, we have new garments coming out. Like I said, I have a graphics person who is working now, and we'll have some new designs in a couple of weeks. And we'll be launching the Discord channel probably the 1st of November. And then I have here's some new thing. Oh, here's something else that'll happen. This is kind of cool. These shows will be available on the Discord channel for 6 weeks before they're shown live. So you get a sneak preview of all the crazy stuff that we're doing. And we hope to provide a lot more value than what the $4.99, that's not even a cup of coffee. But that's what we're looking for, is a target price of $4.99. And when you get there, you'll be able to help support the ministry that we're doing and get these shows 6 weeks before anybody else does. And you'll be able to comment. And I guess I've got a bunch of comments right now. But yeah, it'll be kind of cool. So that's what we're hoping for. Not hoping for. That's what we're working for. We're hoping that everything works out right. But we are heading in that direction. So I hope that answered your questions about the Discord. That was my little commercial about the merchandise. If you want to wear Jesus, I've told you before about my little vision of getting up to heaven and Jesus having a t-shirt with your name on it, because it says that if you proclaim me in front of men, I will proclaim you in front of my Father. So I'm looking forward to him opening up the t-shirt and saying Art. So I'm looking forward to that day, to tell you the truth. So I'll do one more song here, and then I think we're out of here for the day. So this is one written by Paul Bielchi. I just murdered his name. I'm so sorry, Paul. This is called Open the Eyes of My Heart. Oh yeah, just had to end with that chime. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. We hope that you live well, you live humbly, and you boast about Jesus Christ. Boast about your friends, boast about your family, but boasting about your children is kind of like boasting about yourself because they are your offspring. But boast about your brothers and sisters, boast about the people at work. Don't boast about yourself. Live humbly, live well, live wisely. Okay, that would be edited out if I was on real TV. So live well, live wisely, and live humbly. And God bless you and go in the name of Jesus. Have a great, great weekend. And oh my gosh, I'm in the whole wrong area to even run credits. We will try this right now. God bless you. Bye.